Lifetime film, and we're nominated. So I don't care. Okay, okay. So we asked about where you're from. You're from Haiti, and you came here when you were 12, and you said that it was easy for you to adjust. Is well, I guess easier than most people. Megan Buggett, welcome, and you learn English just like myself through Disney Channel, at least one of the ways. And
It
the next question is, huh?
was it was
Say that
Disney
again.
Channel, SpongeBob, SquarePants. What else? Like it was multiple ones. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I thought I was the only one who did that. And soon after you reach here, how was like your I guess family orientation when you were here?
What do you mean?
Like you moved here with your dad, you moved here with who?
I moved here with my dad, and then it was me, my dad, and my brother, and then my uncles, and then my cousin.
Okay. So where was your mom?
My mom was still in Haiti.
Okay. So was it like while you're here you were like talking to your mom all the time? Like how was that? Like I don't think we ever talked about that. Was it like you like hear from her? Like how was it like keeping communication with her while she was in Haiti?
It was like, like a normal person. When you come here, you communicate with your parents or your family members in Haiti. It's like I would call her or we would text and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. And then not too long after moving here, there was like there's a tragedy that took place that kind of changed your world. Can you tell them what happened in regarding
Um,
to your mom?
okay, so it was literally a year after I came here. It was on January 12th, 2010. I remember it like it happened just like yesterday. I remember like I came from school and I was sitting down on the couch, and after that, like I went upstairs because where I used to live at there was upstairs, and I went upstairs to change clothes and stuff. And then suddenly my dad received a phone call, and it was one of my uncles. He called my dad and he was like, "Oh, you know what? You gotta turn the channel to the news. They're giving news about Haiti and stuff like that." And then my dad said, "What happened?" Like he was like, "No, I can't tell you. You gotta see it for yourself." And then when we turned the channel to the news channel and we saw it was like the whole earthquake happened in Haiti and Haiti was devastated and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's like we seen everybody was just like, running around. They didn't know what to do, and all you see was like, houses collapsing and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay. And in the back of my head, I was just like, okay, well, I hope my mom is okay. And I didn't know anything. And I kept calling, I kept calling. I remember I kept asking my parents, I kept asking my dad and I kept asking my family, can you buy me like cards for me to put minutes on the phone so I could call my mom and stuff like that. Like they kept doing it. But what I didn't know is like they already knew, like it was like
Mm,
they already knew that my mom had passed away, but they just didn't know how to tell me. So
mm,
for about like a week and a half, I kept calling, I kept calling, I kept hoping, And every time I talked to one of my family members, they're like, "Oh, did you find your mom yet?" In my head, I'm just like, "No, I didn't find it. If I did find it, I wouldn't keep on calling. Like, seriously, why you keep asking me that?" And I'm just like, "No, I didn't find her." I kept calling, I kept calling, I kept calling, and still no answer. Every time I called, it still went straight to voicemail. I was like, "Dang, what is happening? Like, what's up?" Like, okay, I know like it's the earthquake, but I know some people that reached their family, they were able
right.
to talk to them. So, what's up? What's going on? And I was just like, at this point, I was just like, okay, you know what? I'll just wait until she calls, and then I'll know she's all right. But little did I know is that she was already gone. It was like a week later, because throughout the whole week I kept calling, and it was like on a Wednesday I was supposed to get like like when you first come here you have to get like those shots for school and stuff.
Tuberculosis shot, yeah.
Yep. And then my dad had came get me from school, and he took me to the doctor and I got my shots and everything, and then on our way back to the house he said in the car, he was like, okay, so I have a question for you. I was like, oh God. In my head, I'm just like, oh God, what is happening now? And then he was like, so what if like if you find out that your mom passed away, how would you react? What would you do? And I just looked at him. I said, how you think I would react? Like, I don't know. I would cry because part of me like would cry, and then part of me would be like, okay, dang, it really happened. Like, what? I was so shocked. And he was like, well, okay, I don't know how to tell you this, but your mom passed away in the earthquake and stuff. I was like, are you serious right now? Literally, this is not happening. I did not know what to do when he told me that. My hands started shaking. I felt like water. I don't know if it was literally water, but it was just like I felt like a tingling. Just this, it's like it was just running down my arm, my face, and I'm just like, okay, this is not happening. This is not happening. Like seriously, why, why? And I was just like, I wanted to cry, but at the same time, like I keep on thinking, okay, yes, I lost my mom, but at the same time, like I gotta keep it strong for my little brother because my brother didn't know about it yet. So it's like I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening. Like, what is it? What is that? Like, how am I gonna tell my brother? Like, what am I gonna tell him? Like, okay, so what's happening? The whole time I was just like, what is happening right now? And I remember like we went to my grandma's house, and when we got to my grandma's house, I guess like she had already knew about it. They just didn't know how to tell me. And as soon as I got to the door, my grandma was like, she was like, oh, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm all right. And then my dad said, well, I told her. And my grandma was like, oh, okay. You know how Haitians are. They're like, oh, okay, like, and let me get some tea associé for you and stuff like that. Like, you know, some tea for you to, you know, get better because it was a shock because I didn't know about it. It was shocking and stuff. So she started doing like remedy, those natural remedy for me and stuff like that. Like, you know, put compress on top of my head. I was like, oh my God, like seriously. Like I understand you guys are like feeling for me right now, but my brother was the closest one to my mom, and he is the youngest. How are you guys going to tell them, like tell him that? How am I going to tell him that? Because at this point, if you guys didn't tell me, you guys knew for about a week now, and then you guys didn't tell me because y'all didn't know how to tell me. So how you guys? I'm like assuming that you guys expect me to tell him instead of y'all telling him. So yeah. I had to do the hard job. I had to go and break it down to him and stuff. When I got home, and he came home from school, and I was just like, okay, water running down my face. I was crying and stuff. And then I said to him, can you come here? And then he was like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Why are you crying? Did you talk to my mom yet?
Oh, God.
And I was just like, no, I wasn't able to reach her. And he was like, why? Okay, if you were able to reach her today, well then like try tomorrow or we'll try tonight before you go to bed and stuff. And I'm just like, Eddie, my mom died. And he was like, are you serious? Why? I'm like, what do you mean why? Like she died, like she passed away and stuff. And out of nowhere, he was sitting down straight, and out of nowhere, all I could feel was him in my arms, crying and stuff. He was like, no, tell me it's not true and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it is true. Like, she passed away. Like, my dad just told me that. And it's like, yeah, that was it.
Wow. You know, it's funny. Though I know the story, I never knew the detail of the feelings behind the association of when you found out. So I guess remember when we said like I wouldn't be surprised? I'm actually shook it because I didn't know all that part. So you say how did you find out? So you were about 13 when you found out because it was a year later after you moved here. So how did like that change your life? Like what do you think that losing her and not having her, like how did that change for you? What did it change? If it changes anything, did you have to go through struggles because of it?
It actually changes everything. It changes like how I used to see life. It changes how when I see a person, like a young person my age, is treating their mother the wrong way. It's
Mm.
just it breaks me to the core to see that, and I'm like, okay, you do realize that you have a mom, and while me, I'm here and I'm hurting, I don't have a mom. I will never like, because the last time I saw my mom was when I was coming here at the airport. She dropped us off at the airport, and that was it. And to find out a year later that she died in the earthquake, it was just like, okay, you have your mom, you have a second chance. Why are you treating her like, badly right now? So it changes like it's like after I found out, I just felt like everything just like it's just like it was just like a dark cloud just cloud on me and stuff. And it's like I wasn't interested in school anymore.
Mm.
I wasn't interested in talking to people. I wasn't interested in like waking up. It was like every day I would wake up, I would ask God, why? Why am I still alive? Like why? And then I'm just like, okay, when I see somebody, I'm like, ugh, you here? Why are you here? Like why are you all up in my face right now? Because like everybody was just like, oh, are you okay? Like I feel your pain and stuff. And I'm just like, you don't know how it feels. You won't know how I truly feel unless you've gone through the pain that I'm going through right now. So it's like the fact that you're telling me that you feel my pain, it's really like, no, it's not making me feel any better because you don't know how I'm feeling for real. Yes, like, okay, you were like, oh, yeah, like I had a cousin that passed away. I had, like, an auntie. Yes, I can understand that's, losing somebody is really hard. But once you lose a parent, especially your mother, yeah, then you can come and talk to me. Like I would have
Mm.
people that would come to me and say, "Hey, my condolences." I'm like, okay, don't no. Now you just like feeling pity for me, and I understand you're supposed to say that to somebody, but at the same time, like right now, that's not what I need right now. I don't need you to come
Mm.
and say, "Okay, I feel your pain" or my condolences and stuff, because that's not. Those are words. Those words are not gonna bring my mother back.
Right,
So
right, right.
don't come and say that to me. I remember like I would go to school. I would dress whatever, because normally before I go to like before the whole thing happened, I would go to school. I would dress up and everything, like looking fly and everything. But after that happened, I was just like, okay, whatever I found to put on, I'll put on. Some days I would go to school with just like a baggy t-shirts and just like just some jeans and stuff. And then when I go to school, I felt like I didn't have a purpose anymore. I felt like,
Mm.
okay, my whole world just torn apart in just like 1 week. And it was pretty hard. Like my grades started slipping. I went from having all straight A's to having like some classes I had like a C in it, some classes I had F in it, and my teachers were really concerned. They would call my parent, like they would call my dad, they would call my family. They're like, okay, like she is really slipping off, slipping away and stuff like that. Her GPA is dropping really bad. Like you guys really got to do something about it. And my dad, since he didn't speak English at the time, so it was kind of like he's like, okay, what are you telling me? I don't know how to help her because the language barrier, like she speaks English and you guys speak English and I barely speak it, so it's like I don't know how to help her. So it was just pretty hard. Like I didn't have friends. It's just really bad.
So do you think that like because one of the things that's had been plaguing you for the past few years since I've known you actually is that you struggle to depression. Do you think that's where it began?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly how. Cause how it all started is like a month after, because that happened. My mom passed away in January, and literally a month after, in February, I started passing out of nowhere. I didn't know.
Passing out?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know
started
that.
passing. Yeah, I started passing out of nowhere. Like I would just like I would stay here, and then out of nowhere I would just like pass out. I was in school, like I remember like in my piano, like in my, cause I had like piano class, and one day I go to the school normal, and then once I got to the class, and out of nowhere I just like I lay my head on the table, and the next thing I know I was in the ambulance, like they were taking me to the hospital. Yeah, I
Did
passed
they
out.
ever say what? Did they say was there like a diagnosis?
Nope. All they said was I needed to be, I was dehydrated. I needed to hydrate myself and everything. I needed to drink more water and stuff like that. And I'm like, I drink a lot of water. Like, that's not what it is. Like, it's like, they didn't know. They couldn't tell what it was. So I remember like, there was a few times too, like I would go to, a choir rehearsal at church. There was a few times Edzer and Patricia had to take me to the hospital because I passed out of nowhere like that. So yeah, it was.
What?
It was.
Why don't I remember this?
I mean, because you didn't know that part.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay. Like, do you think it was kind of like, I don't know, like you like developed social anxiety and you just would shut down?
Yeah, it was all that. It was just like I felt the pressure. Cause remember, like as a older sister, I have like my brother to think about now. My mom is not here anymore, and my dad is just like he's a guy. He doesn't know what to do. So it's like I felt the pressure. The pressure was on me. So I felt like not only I have to be a sister to him, I have to be a mother, and then at the same time to take care of my own self too.
Right.
And it was just like the whole pressure. It's like I feel like sometimes I would feel like my chest was just like it's closing and stuff. Yeah. Nardine said she remembers that one night at choir rehearsal.
Wow.
But yeah, like it was like I felt like my chest was just like I just I can't really explain the feelings how it would feel. It was just like my chest. I feel like it would be like eating on me on the inside. Like it was just really bad. And
Wow.
just like I would feel lightheaded, and out of nowhere I was just like, okay, I could be like all normal right now to you, and then out of nowhere I was just like, okay, I need a minute. Let me go sit down. And then as soon as I sat down, go.
Are you serious? Wow. Okay, so like, okay, so when did you know? Like, did you know it was because you like?
I didn't know.
Did you know it was
No.
because you were depressed? Like, did you? I mean, like
I did not
when
know
did you
that.
finally realize that I think I'm depressed?
It was when okay, so not only I would pass out, I would feel like very antisocial. Like if somebody asked me, if they ask me, okay, do you want to hang out? And it's like I'll be like, yeah, I want to hang out. But then I would tell you, yes, I want to hang out. But then 2 minutes later, something would just like come over me and just like, girl, you don't want to hang out with them. Like, you don't want to hang out with them. Like, something wrong with you. Like, you're not gonna be able to find like, the dress or the right outfit to go out with them and stuff like that. Why you trying to go out? Why you trying to be all that and everything? You're not all that. So it's just like I felt like there was another voice in my head that was telling me, okay, yes, I want to do this, but there was another voice that's telling me that, oh, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, because your parents are not gonna allow it, like your family and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this is gonna be a hard question. Okay, and I'm gonna ask it anyways. So, do you think? Did you ever experience like suicidal thoughts?
Yes.
Did you
I
ever
have.
attempt?
Yep. So many times.
Did you ever attempt?
Yep.
How
So
many
many.
times?
I would say about 10 times, 10 to
That's
15 times.
that's a lot. Are you okay with sharing one of them?
Yeah, that's fine. One of them was, I know, like at the time, I couldn't drink alcohol. because it's like, because you know, alcohol with mixed with anxiety and you know a heart problem is not good for you. So when I remember like my auntie at the time, she had like a bottle of rum at the house,
Haitian rum?
and yeah, Haitian rum. So I was like, you know what? I came in from school. I was like, oh, I see it. There, look at you and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I can't believe they left it outside because they had left the bottle outside and stuff. It was because it was for my uncle. Actually, she bought it for my uncle. So the alcohol was outside. I'm like, okay. Something is telling me to go towards it and drink in it, but something else is telling me don't do it because you know it's not gonna be good for you. I was like, you know what? Forget it. The bad was actually empowered the whole thing. It was just like, okay, well, you know what? Forget it. And then I just took it and I just like drank the whole thing. And then
The whole bottle?
the whole bottle. Like I drank the whole bottle, and then I was like, okay, I was so paranoid. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, okay, what's happening here? What's happening there? And then my auntie came in because she wasn't here. She was at work, and then when she came from work, her and her daughter, they came in, and then they saw me lying down on the floor, and then they're like, Chrissy, are you okay? Chrissy, they were shaking me and stuff. Chrissy, I was like she was telling me after that, she was telling me how I was cold. Like I was like, my whole body was like cold. And then she was like, okay, seriously, what is happening? They took me in the shower, like they were like water dripping down my face and everything. Like they were shaking me, like tapping my face, like wake up. And I'm just like, okay, like why are you in my head? Because it's like it's kind of like I feel like my spirit came out of my body and it was watching the whole thing. My body was was unconscious, but my spirit came out and it was watching the whole thing. And I'm like, I was thinking in my head, why are you trying to wake me up right now? Like seriously, just let me die. Like I feel like I don't have anything to live for in this life anymore because my mom passed away, and I'm over here dealing with all this other stuff that I got going on, and I do not know how to deal with them. So it's like just let me go already, let me die already. And they finally like I guess after like trying to wake me up, they finally got me up, and I'm just like okay. And I came back, and then my my auntie was just like, okay, what happened? I'm like, I don't know what happened. It just something came to me, and I just wanted to be gone. And then she was like, she talked to me. She was like, okay, well, if you're doing that, you realize that your brother is gonna do the same thing too. So what's gonna happen then? It's like you're gonna have like not only your mom's gonna be dead, and the two of y'all gonna be dead right after her too. So like you need to find like a way to like to heal yourself, like to not do that
The
because it's not
very
good.
typical Haitian answer. Oh my God.
Right.
The very typical Haitian answer, like, oh, so and so died, so what, you gonna die too? And they say it so nonchalant, like as if I can help what my body
Yeah.
is going through because I'm 13 years old, having to experience from leaving, being with my parents in one country, having to move to a whole new country and already learning to adjust with that, and then having to deal with not just a dead parent, but my mother. And that was the parent that both of you guys were actually closer to, your mom. And then with your dad not really being supported because he doesn't know how to. And now I have to be strong for a younger brother. And
Right.
y'all want me to figure it out. Like, oh, that's a lot for a 13-year-old.
Right. It's like, okay, so you want me to buy the cake and eat it too? Like, really?
And the thing is, I feel like if there's people who lose their parents way earlier. But then at 12, 13, I think between 10 and 16, it's like that age where you're already having like this identity crisis. And you're trying to find yourself. You don't understand what your body's doing physically because that's also that awkward age. And And now that's just a lot of pressure. And yeah. So was there ever like one of those attempts where you felt like, or was there ever a time? Okay, no, I think the question I want to ask was, when did you stop attempting and what made you stop?
When I stopped was, I actually stopped a year later. It was like
Oh,
the
really?
following, yeah. It was like a year later. I stopped. I stopped the attempting and stuff
Right.
because I was like, because I remember like that one time, the last time when I stopped was when I was holding the knife in my hand, and I was about to cut myself with it, and I'm holding the knife, and there was a voice in my head that said, "Do it, do it, do it, just get it over it." And then there's another voice in my head that's telling me, "Okay, if you do it, this is what's gonna happen to you, because God don't like it's like if you actually kill yourself, you're gonna go to hell for that." And it's like, it's considered like like kind of like a big sin too. So it's like you can't do that. And the voice was telling me, not only are you gonna go to hell, and it's like, where you gonna leave your brother at? Because your dad don't even know what he's doing.
Right.
Even though while here, he doesn't even know like what to do. Like, you're the one that's helping. So if you kill yourself, then how is your brother gonna grow up? Is he gonna grow up without a mother and without a sister too? So, and I felt like like the ball was in my court right now.
Wow.
It's
I mean,
it's time.
it's a burdening reason to stop, but we're also very grateful that none of the attempt, because 10 to 15 attempt is a lot. I've only attempted suicidal once, the very first time and the only ones. And I've had thoughts afterwards, but I've only attempted one. And for me, and I was about your age, about 12 years old, and I always remember. I will never forget the day. And for me, it plagues me till this day. And one of my biggest fear is to start having thoughts again, and I haven't had in a really long time, and I'm grateful for that. But to have had more than 5 attempts to me is a lot. To have had 10 to 15, and within 1 year, girl, all of heaven have been resting on you to be alive. Because there are people who are effective the first time, or maybe the third time. But to have done it more than 5 times, to me, it's like there's nothing in hell, nothing in hell that God was allowing to have the power for you to not be alive. There's no way. And I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. For me, my first attempt was because I found that I was adopted, and I felt like my whole world, it wasn't even nowhere close to what you had to go through. I found out I was adopted, and all of a sudden it felt like my whole world was a lie, and my attempt, it was a knife as well. And I don't care what nobody say, but this is what I experienced, and this is what I remember. All I remember is having it and getting ready to and I'm one of those people, when I say I'm going to do something, if any of you guys know me, things have to happen for it not to happen. So I was determined that day. And I promise you, I remember having the knife with my left hand, and I remember I was ready to do it. And I had been contemplating this for a really long time. And I kid you not, I promise you, angels were fighting me, because as I was trying to fight to move, it felt like somebody was pulling my hand at the same time. And then it pulled me so hard, my hand so hard that my hand opened and the knife fell. And I remember sitting on the floor and just crying and wallowing. I cried so hard that I had a headache, and I was on the floor, and I was and then I put the knife forward, and I think I went to sleep. And that was my first attempt, and that was my only attempt. Because in my head, it's like, well, I don't even have the power to even kill myself. What the hell? So I never kept it after that because I just kept always felt paranoid that like there's something trying to stop me, so I'm not gonna try. But I've had multiple. But girl, let me tell you, the angels, all of the angels are like not today or all those 15 times. So okay, so we know that because I know because of what you've experienced, it affected you academically, and you mentioned that earlier because your grades were dropping, and it affected you all the way throughout high school to the point of having issues graduating. Are you okay with sharing that?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it did actually. Like, it causes a lot of problem. It was kind of like, okay, so it happened in 2010. My grades started slipping, but then it got back up after like a few months because I've had like not my Haitian people, not my family, but it was like the white people. Well, that sounded so racist, but no, it was like the Americans. And my teachers, like 'cause most of my teachers were like like white Americans and stuff. They were the one like that helped me because I remember like I had like my English teacher. He was a guy. He would actually like he would stay after school even though like, he had to leave. He would stay after school and then he would tell me, okay, like you need to come to class like after school. If you can't do it during the class, like come after school and I'll stay after and then I'll help you and stuff like that. And I remember like I'll be after school and my 10th grade here, it was a struggle in the beginning, but then after it started, going back up, and then it was almost towards the end, it started slipping again. But then I'm like, okay, you know what? We're not gonna do this anymore. We're not gonna do this again. Like, and I went back up. I was like, okay, you know what? All right, 11th grade, it was okay. But then I went for my ninth grade, I was at one high school. I did ninth grade over there, and then my dad ended up moving, so I went from one school to another for my 10th grade here, and I had to not only I had to adopt to the teachers, I had to adopt to the program because like even though like they have the same program for every school over here, but every teacher they teach us differently. So I had to get adopt to the teachers teaching and that also was a problem. And I remember like for the reading FCAT back in 2010 they used to give the reading FCAT on paper, but in 2011 they started doing the computer testing and I did not like computer testing for nothing. So it was a problem. It was like really hard for me to focus and my grades started, like my the point that I was supposed to have the grade point average for the FCAT, it started slipping. So I had to stay after school again. And then from my 10th grade, I moved to another place again. So I had to go to another school. So my 11th grade, I went to another school again and I took the FCAT and I still didn't pass it. And my 12th grade, they wanted to move again. I said, hey, let's stay here. I would not move. That's 3 schools in 3 years. I would not move again. And if you guys do move, I will not go to another school. I would rather walk to my school now. I need to finish with this one. And I remember my dad would say, okay, well, you're the boss since you pay the bills. And I'm like, I don't pay the bills. I'm just saying, like, I cannot do it anymore. Like, not only it was hard for me to focus in life, period, but it was also hard for me to focus in school. Because all I could think about she is really not here anymore because my mom actually like the biggest thing my mom really cared about was education and she really cared about school. My grades and my brother's grade were really important to her. Like because she was a kindergarten teacher back in Haiti. So I remember like my school back in Haiti, like the teachers back in Haiti, they used to want me because they're like, your mother didn't give you nothing to do throughout the week. So what were you doing for you to not know any for you to not do your homework? I'm like, dang it. Why do you guys have to know my mom is a teacher? Like seriously.
Right.
Yeah, like so it's like when I came here, it was a big problem because my grades started slipping and I'm like, okay, dang, if she was here, she would have like, tear my ears out and everything. She's like, oh, I don't give you nothing to do, so why is your grade slipping? So the whole time, she's like, wait, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I'm not gonna do it for everybody else, but I'm gonna do it for my mom. Even if I don't do it for myself either, I'm gonna do it for my mom because that was one of the things that she was really strict about. So yeah, like I remember like every January 12th, every year, whenever it comes, I would cry myself to sleep or cry myself wherever I'm at. I just find a corner and stay in the corner and just cry there, cry. And then after that, when I'm good to go, I say, okay, I wipe my face. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Wow. I gotta go. And
did you ever feel like you disappointed her whenever, like, because you couldn't keep up with your grades? Did you ever feel like that?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. The reason why you're in that situation because she's no longer here, and you're trying to learn how to mourn, and at the same time you have to deal with feeling like you're disappointing her because her biggest thing was having good grades and a good education, and that's the very part you struggle. And I didn't even know that. I mean, like, recently I knew that your mom was in the education, but I didn't realize how much more pressure it was having to trying to keep up your grades and you can't because what time do we have? How many minutes it says we've had?
It's 9:18 right now.
How many minutes is it saying we're at?
Oh, it doesn't say actually.
Click on the live button.
Oh, 42 minutes.
Okay, so we have to thing up, so we have 15 minutes. So 15 minutes. So I just lost my train of thought. So yeah, because of all of that, and that happened, and school being difficult, and you did graduate. However, I think like there was like an issue with, is it your diploma?
Okay, so I did graduate. I did have all my credit, all my grades, and all my GPA and stuff, but because I did not pass the reading FCAT, so that actually causes me to not have my high school diploma after I graduated. So,
and then, so what you had to do to fix that was?
What I did actually, what my dad did was, because it was like, because I graduated in 2013, and then it wasn't until like 2014, back in June 2014, but actually it was in May, my dad found out about the Job Corps program that we have, and I ended up signing up for it. And once I signed up, and then they finally called me, and then I had to leave home like in like June. Yeah, it was in June I had to leave home to go to the Job Corps program because I had to leave on campus only because it's like the nearest campus is actually in St. Petersburg, and I couldn't do the back and forth and stuff. So, so it's like 2 hours drive. So I had to leave home and go live on campus, and that's how I ended up getting my high school diploma.
How was that? By yourself? No, just having to leave home and going all the way to somewhere else.
Actually, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I know it's kind of mean to say, but it was great. Like I was so ready to leave. Like I was so ready because because after the whole thing happened, after my mom passed away, like my family was just like, they were breathing really hard down my neck, and I'm just like, get off my back already. And I remember like after I graduated high school, because I didn't have my high school diploma, they were just like, oh, it's because I'm like, okay, well, you do it. You go through the whole 4 years of high school and then find out that your mom died, and then had to go to 3 school actually, because I went through 3 high school. And I'm like, well, since you think that it's because I wasn't focused enough, you do it then. You go do it. Because when you're done doing it, then you come back and tell me. Come back and tell me.
Right.
So, they was just like, oh, you're smart enough. You could do it. You're smart enough. Like, oh, you should have graduated with a high school diploma. You should have. I'm like, yeah, I should have. But y'all weren't there though. Y'all were not in my shoes. Y'all didn't feel my pain. Y'all didn't know how I feel. Like there were some days I would wake up, I would wake up, I open my eyes and I'm just like, oh, I'm still alive. Why? And it was just really bad. Like you guys, I was just telling them, okay, you guys don't know what I'm going through because like y'all not in my shoes. So why are you telling me, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, you smart enough, you should have, no, don't tell me that because until you walk in my shoes, you won't know my pain. You won't know.
Right. Do you think like when you moved, that's when you think you found yourself? You found yourself and you started healing. Do you think that's when it started? Yeah.
That's when it started. I felt like the pressure was not on me as much as I felt it before.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of like, okay, I can breathe. Like all the stress I been going through, I felt like, okay, I don't have to go through the stress anymore. It was just like, okay, now I'm starting to, feel like myself. Like, okay, I can do this. Even though, like, there were times that I still felt like, okay, there were times that I felt like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, why am I here? What am I doing? Like, yeah, there were times I still feel like that, too.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I felt like, okay, I can do this. I can do this.
There's hope.
Yeah, I can do this.
How did you feel when you finally got your papers? That's how you know I'm an immigrant. You got your diploma or whatever. I think an associate's at that point was wrapped up together. How did you feel?
I was so happy. Because it's like when I was over there at the Job Corps, I was so distracted. I was like, okay. Because I found sport. I played basketball. I played flag football. I played volleyball and everything. Somebody say they can't hear. What's happening?
Yeah, I just noticed that. I don't know why.
Oh, she said she can't hear. Can you hear me now?
Well, somebody else can hear.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's just her.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
I'm pretty sure times are counting down. So, yeah, you said you played all these sports and then.
I distracted myself. Like I played basketball, I played volleyball, flag football, everything. So it's like they give me 3 months to do the whole Penn Foster and stuff because the school they have like the high school diploma, you have to get it through Penn Foster. So they give me 3 months to do it. I'm like 3 months. So that's too little. So because I was so distracted, so I was like, okay, you know what? It was at a point where I was like, you know what? I gotta get it together. I have to get it together. So I decided it was time for me to put, the sport somewhere and just focus on school. So that's when I started working. And I had like my fellow students right next to me too. They were helping me. So they were helping me. They helped me, and then I got through it. And I got my high school diploma. When I got my high school diploma, I said, yes, I did it. I remember
And you had an associate's with it too, right?
Huh?
You had an associate's with it too, like one thing together?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So even if like you were quote unquote, oh yeah, I can see me because I'm frozen. So even if like you were like quote unquote like behind, but God worked it out in a way where, well, you did 2 years, and that's how long it would have taken for you to get an associate's anyways. So it's kind of like you weren't behind at all. So that I think that's pretty cool. How many minutes we have?
50. Even though I was behind, it's 50 minutes. Even though I was behind. To some Haitians, you are behind if you do not have your associate. You don't start working and stuff like that. And even though I felt like I was behind, but to some other people, especially like the people that I went to high school with, I was not behind. Because when I look at them, like especially now, when I look at them, I'm like, okay, there's some of them, they already have their associate, they already have like, like their master, their like whatever. They're like way high, but what I have accomplished, what I have now, they don't have that.
Right.
So even though like I was way behind, like I was way behind compared to them, but in some other ways, I was like, I was a little bit like further than them.
Okay. So because we're like few minutes in number, first of all, congratulations for your accomplishments. But also, how do you think, like now that you moved, and in a way, I feel like not graduating high school kind of saved you because it forced you to go somewhere that also allowed you to heal. Huh?
No, but see, I did graduate high school.
I mean, not having your diploma, I meant, like, like not getting the diploma because you graduated, but, with the Haitians, it don't matter. Like, you walk across the street, but you don't have the paper to prove, whatever. I feel like, in a way, it kind of saved you. Like, it kind of saved you because it helped you cope without people being all up in your face, and though you had to do it alone, but at the same time, I feel like it saved you because it brought you back in a way. So, like, how do you think, like, in little words, I guess, that help you with coping with depression, and how far along do you think you are now?
Right. It actually helped me a lot. Cause in a way, while I was in high school, while I was going through that, it was just like, I felt like, okay, I can't do this. Like, who am I? Like, why am I trying so hard? There's no purpose for me to keep on doing it. Like, why? But then when I actually got my high school, because after I graduated high school, people were just like coming at me, because I spent a year, I stayed home and I couldn't go to school. And my family, they were just coming at me. They're like, oh, you should be in school, or you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be doing this. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I can't do it, and there's nothing I can do about it. So just, you just wasting your time, you're wasting your breath right now. Like, seriously, get off my back. And it was just like, after I graduated with the Job Corps, and I got my high school diploma, and because I think at the time, like, I was like 18 or something. I was 18 when I did it. And my grandma, I remember, like, when I first came here at 12, my grandma was telling my uncle that, oh, don't worry, they're just gonna come here, because it was like the three of us as females that came here together. And then he told my uncle, oh, don't worry, they're not gonna reach 15, they're gonna get pregnant too.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh really? So that was kind of like a motivation for me. Like, even though, like, I was going through depression, but I kept, like, kept thinking about what she said to my uncle. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? I gotta prove them wrong. I gotta prove them wrong. I gotta prove them wrong. And when I turned 18 and then I got my high school diploma and I was ready to graduate the Job Corps, I remember that one weekend I came here and I went straight to my grandma's house. I said, it was right after I walked in there, I was so determined. I was like, yes. I said, Grandma, today's my birthday. And she was like, oh, really? I was like, yo. And then guess how old I am? And she was like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 18. I ain't pregnant either. She was so I'm like, yeah. Oh, but yeah. And then I also got my high school diploma too, and then I'm ready to graduate and stuff. So it's like, I felt like it was a big accomplishment for me in that part, because not only I was still going through depression and stuff, and it's just like, it was that one thing I was like, you know what, I gotta prove them wrong. I gotta beat.
Yeah.
I gotta beat.
Yeah, but you forgot the part about, like, how far do you think you're alone, like, from like battling with depression? Like, do you think you still have like waves of it? Do you think is like, how are you doing right now, like, now?
Right now, I'm around, I would say, like, the 10 to 15%. Like, like almost kick his butt. I almost
no, because honestly, I know people that I've heard that battle with depression. It's almost like it's almost like a plague that never leaves. And I mean, like, we have rich people, billionaires, killing themselves for that exact reason. You know,
Right.
pastors killing themselves for that exact reason. People who's doctors. I was just reading an article, and supposed to be, and it's 2 years old, but I just seen it. It's supposed to be the first female Muslim judge in, I want to say, New York, or in the court on that level of power, was found in a river, supposedly, and they're saying it was suicidal. And you think somebody with so much power, making that much money, so well respected, being the first amongst anybody in her rank to be suicidal, or, well, not, in her point, actually kills herself. You know, so like you hear these stories all the time, and to me, it's amazing that you, at such a young age, not only had to go through something really hard, but had so many attempts, not just thoughts, attempt, plus some, plus your family on your back, plus the pressure, and you're still alive, girl.
It's all God. That's all I can say. It's
Listen,
all God.
whatever God has in store for you, it has to be
Right.
so important that
Exactly.
you think you worth still being here. How many minutes we have?
57, but I really gotta go because I gotta go to work.
Right. So what I'm gonna say is that
Next.
what we did not touch on that I want to bring to everybody thing. She's actually starting a foundation. It's under her mother's name, and it's supposed to be helping people kind of like herself who has to go through hard time. So she's using that experience to help other youth around that age, and hoping that she can reach and touch people. And she's also right now studying to be in the military, something she's always wanting to do for a really, really long time. So I ask that you guys not only keep her in your prayers, so that God can continue to use her to help others, but also help her succeed and help her get so far that nobody will even recognize that she even gone through anything like that. Okay? So thank you for joining us in tonight.
Thursday.
What else? Huh? Do you have
Next
any
Thursday.
last words you want to say?
Next Thursday for the rest of the story.
Oh yeah, next Thursday for the rest of I would have forgotten. Next Thursday for the rest of story that we're probably gonna have to fight. This thing kept me frozen the whole time, for real. Wow.
No.
Okay. Well, next Thursday for the rest of the story, because yeah, that's just kind of like a little bit for all the hell she had to gone through, but that was such a huge part of her life. And her story wouldn't make sense without it. It really wouldn't. I would be cheating who she is as a person in that part of the story. And yeah, thank you for joining in, and see you guys next Thursday. You know I love you.